Imagine opening a door, stepping into a room, and freezing. A few feet away, a snake coils back and strikes. Instantly, your heart races, your pupils dilate, and your breathing turns shallow. But then you blink. You look closer. It's not a living reptile. It's just a hyper-realistic photograph printed on a poster board. In a fraction of a second, your heart rate drops and your muscles relax. Notice what happened there. The physical object in the room remained completely static. The only thing that shifted was your mind's interpretation of it. That shift reveals the true nature of stress. It belongs to our internal biology, a specific physical response to an altered state of equilibrium, triggered by our own minds. We routinely blame our surroundings for how we feel. We point to a demanding workplace, a looming deadline, or gridlocked traffic, and we label those external things as the source of our anxiety. Yet those external events are entirely neutral. A traffic jam is just a collection of metal boxes sitting on asphalt. Stress only materializes if your brain grants it permission to exist. Psychologists call that permission slip cognitive appraisal. It is the split-second gatekeeper process acting as the bridge between an external event and your internal biology. The gatekeeper operates in two steps. First comes primary appraisal. Your brain scans the stimulus and asks a specific question. Am I in danger? If the answer is no, the alarm stays quiet. If the answer is yes, you immediately enter secondary appraisal. Here, the brain assesses its options, asking, what do I do about it? Do I fight or do I flee? How severe your physical reaction will be depends heavily on your perceived control. When you feel you have the tools to manage the threat, the resulting stress remains low. But the exact moment your brain concludes a threat is both real and beyond your control, a biological tripwire is crossed. That appraisal unleashes a massive, full-body physiological cascade. This is a portrait of Hans Selye, a medical scientist who developed the framework for our physical stress response, the general adaptation syndrome. This line graph shows a biological freakout. It starts in the alarm phase, flooding your bloodstream with cortisol. Next, you enter the resistance phase. Adrenaline pumps to mobilize resources, shutting down non-essential metabolic activities to maintain this hyper-conscious state. If you're running away from a predator or dodging a falling object, this biological state is incredibly effective. It provides the immediate energy required to survive an acute physical threat. But holding that high plateau is physiologically expensive. Evolution designed this system to run for a few minutes, maybe an hour. It was never built to remain activated indefinitely. When a stressor is chronic, like months of financial worry or an endless string of exams, the body gets stuck. The alarm never turns off, remaining trapped in the resistance phase. Eventually, your metabolic resources run dry. This forces you into the third stage, the exhaustion phase. The toll of maintaining that heightened state causes real damage, manifesting as weakened immunity, frequent sickness, or sleeping entirely too much. Chronic exhaustion often stems from how we habitually interpret the world around us. Certain personality profiles remain in the exhaustion phase because their gatekeeper never closes. Specifically, individuals who exhibit high hostility live in a state of constant mistrust. Because they expect harm or provocation in every social interaction, they effectively keep their biological alarm pinned in the on position. Over years, the wear and tear of that chronic high blood pressure breaks down the cardiovascular system, leading directly to heart disease. The very system meant to keep us alive begins to destroy us. Fortunately, because the stress loop requires both an external trigger and an internal appraisal, we have two distinct angles to dismantle it. The first is the external fix, known in psychology as problem-focused coping. This involves targeting the root cause and directly altering your environment. This chart shows how that breaks down. You might use active coping to remove the obstacle, develop a plan to work around it, or seek instrumental social support, getting concrete advice from someone who can help you solve the problem. But sometimes the external circumstances cannot be changed. You can't plan your way out of a chronic illness diagnosis or a global event. That is when you need the internal fix, emotion-focused coping. Here, the goal is to alter how you experience the stressor. Strategies include mental disengagement to focus your thoughts elsewhere, venting to release the pressure, or finding emotional social support for encouragement and affirmation. Neither approach is superior to the other. Navigating a difficult world requires assessing whether a threat is actually controllable and then selecting the correct tool for the job. We can view stress as a predictable physiological process. It follows a mechanical sequence from the first appraisal to the final physical toll, and that process lies dormant until your brain's cognitive appraisal signs the permission slip to start the alarm. Utilizing the correct coping strategy acts as a circuit breaker. It interrupts the biological cascade, shutting down the cortisol and adrenaline before you ever reach the point of exhaustion. We possess the ability to neutralize our biological panic. We can do it by changing the physical world around us, or, when that fails, by simply changing the way we look at it.